This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew, too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Katie, it is the end of 5 Iron February. We talked about Quantity is job 1. We were joined by Leonore to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Last week, we talked about all the hype that money can buy, and we have a return guest with Micah.
Yes.
It's been an Ortega-heavy month here on 5 Iron February.
Nothing to be sorry about.
But Katie, I have to explain something to you really quickly, because both Micah and Andy, well, Andy messaged me directly after hearing the Quantity episode and was like, I'm so sorry that you have to listen to all the hype next. And I said, Katie said it was her favorite album so far, and he said, well, she's wrong. And then Micah, texting Micah last night, he said basically the same thing. He was like, that is not.
That's okay.
I said, she thinks it's your best album thus far. And he goes, no, it's not.
Well, I didn't say the best album so far. I did say it's like one of my favorite. It was also like we had just been covering all of it, and I got really into all of the different songs. And there were some really solid songs on that album. And I feel like with that album, it showed like how much you guys were transitioning into like better lyrics, something with like a lot of meaning. I love the progression of how we're doing all of these albums, because I'm just starting to love each one more and more and more.
Yeah. So the last thing I'll give you, Micah, before we dive into this is at the end of our interview with Leonore, we said, if you could give Katie a heads up about all the hype, what would it be? And she said inconsistent. and she said inconsistent. And she goes, we are, she gave us a lot of background on Quantity, that at the time that you're recording Quantity, Scott has kind of decided he's walking away and he's the primary songwriter, and that this is kind of a little bit of a ship without a captain, so to say. Like the person who would come with all the music is not there. So now the 7 of you are kind of trying to pick up all of what Scott did. But she said you and Sonny specifically would be good people to talk to for this. Unfortunately, Sonny's schedule didn't allow him to be here. But she said that in her eyes, this was the album where you and him, in her mind, started to click a little bit as songwriters, and that I guess she said that you guys kind of started to be a bigger driving force in the future albums for like song direction. Would you agree with that assessment?
Maybe. Like, what's weird is even on the later records, like Scott, well, like me and Dennis, like Dennis would say that he's like channeling me in a lot of his writing. Like, which is interesting, because a lot of the stuff that he said that on, I'm like, dude, I love this song. It's great. And even with Scott rejoining the band later on, like same thing. Like he says he's channeling me and he'll show me some stuff, and it's like, this is like right out of my heart, dude. Feels really good, which is weird because I'm like, I didn't write that much. Like I really didn't, but I guess there's a sound to me, which is true for me and like Scott, because when he left the band, like I remember being in New Zealand and being like, okay, I guess I got to pick up the slack here. And I started writing some stuff and was like, this is what Scott would play, and like I came up with some stuff that sounded very much like what would come from him. Mm-hmm. And when he rejoined the band, he was like, that was a song that I liked, was the one that I was trying to make it sound like him.
I was going to say, I'm looking here in the booklet, which I love that you guys did this. I have the CD booklet right here. You actually include a lot of information on every song of who was working on what parts here. Mm. So for this album, it looks like you are one of the 3 people who worked on the music for Solidarity.
Yep.
You are one of the people who worked on the music for Fahrenheit, which I think is musically a very fascinating song.
Yeah, that's the one that I was channeling Scott.
Okay.
I can hear that, actually. That makes sense. I still like Larry. You had a little bit of a helping hand in All the Hype, and one of my favorite songs you guys ever did, World Without End. So you're picking up the slack on some pretty big songs here, and it does seem like Dennis is kind of the other one who's really stepping in as the songwriter in that field.
Yep. Yeah, Dennis is amazing.
So I assume a lot of the time that is it like when we're getting into later albums, are you writing? My guess is like someone writes the version of the song that wouldn't have horns, and then Dennis steps in and is like, this is what the horn part should be to match this.
Accurate, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like early days, it was like, okay, I want to hear a song that is good as an instrumental. So we'd write a song that was basically good as an instrumental, and then give it to Dennis, and Dennis would add flares here and there, whatever that would accent what we as a rhythm section would come up with, and then poor unfortunate Reese is left with whatever scraps he could like fit in, and a lot of times it's just him fighting with horns and riffs and whatever, because we wrote these songs to be instrumental. So it was a tough go for Reese, I think, back in the day.
I know that Leonore also said that sometimes she's like, I got to be a songwriter because ostensibly there was always 2 or 3 songs that Reese just could not come up with words for and would offer them up to anybody who was willing to take it off of his shoulders.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of his muse or whatever happens very late in life, and late in the process, I guess. And sometimes it's just so late that it's like, we're either going to scrap this song, which we love the music for, or somebody else has got to work on it. So.
But I do love that gives, last night we were texting a little bit about the Beatles, so I'm going to go to a Beatles analogy. But like, I do appreciate that Five Iron isn't this McCartney-Lennon situation, but it does actually sound like everybody kind of gets to throw in their own piece of the pie on a song. And that's, I was listening to the Krista Makes a Podcast recently, and it was Chris Fafalios from Punchline was talking, and he said, like, talking about songwriting credits and how he's like, obviously, I think his exact words were, I was never in a band where this was going to matter that much because we were never famous enough for it to matter. Yeah. But you do get into this situation of like, all right, so someone wrote the music for this, so he should be compensated. And then another person wrote the words, and he should be compensated. But what about the drummer who puts in this crazy drum fill that everybody remembers? What about the guitarist who lays down this guitar solo that might become the iconic part of the, like, and that's why, like, for him, he's like, our band just always split it 5 ways between the 5 of us because we're all contributing, even if we're not the one who composed the original blueprint of the song and wrote the words. We're adding our own pieces of flair that can't be replicated by somebody else in our shoes type situation. And I feel like Five Iron just kind of owned that from the jump and was like, we are an 8-piece band that there's no one person who is more important than the other person in this ship. Just
as an internal political thing, I think was super important for us for the longevity,
I talk about this all the time, that the fact that you were an 8-piece band that has had ostensibly one band member shift ever, and at one point it just shifted one member in to return an old member, in a world where there are 3-piece punk bands that have gone through like 15 drummers.
Right.
Like it says a lot about the friendship and the unity and the fairness and, like you said, the political understanding of what this band is that is working, because smaller bands can't do it.
No, it's true.
Yeah, what's unfortunate, and I think sets a lot of bands up for internal turmoil, is how crediting happens in like ASCAP and VMI and like those places where the publishing really matters. Like, because there's the person who wrote the lyrics and that gets paid a certain amount, and there's the people who wrote the song and that gets paid a certain amount, and there's people who are contributors and that pays a different tier. So if you just say we all wrote it, then
it's
that
easy.
helps. Yeah.
One last question, then I want to pass the mic over to Katie to ask all the questions that are brewing in her brand new All the Hype mind.
Mm-hmm.
This album starts off with a pre-gap hidden track, which was one of the rarest things in music. I can think of maybe 4 albums in my life that had one of these. Whose idea was this? Was it inspired from like Less Than Jake Losing Streak doing that, or?
Yep, it was inspired by Less Than Jake for sure.
Okay.
And we were like, how do they do this? Like, how do they do this? And Masaki, he figured out how that could be done in like a negative track. And I totally forgot about that actually.
Wait,
it's crazy because that song is lost. It's lost to time. I had to find, there was one YouTube video where a family recreated just yelling "What's up" together, and that was how I got the audio from the song to put into our All the Hype episode, because it's not available anywhere. You can't burn it from the CD onto a computer. It's just it is the most hidden of hidden tracks.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing too with CDs, I mean, I don't know if you remember when CDs started taking over tapes. But like it was a selling point for the price point of the CD, that it had bonus tracks on the end of the record, and it was like to push you into new technology basically, and so to be able to hide something before it was just like, this is truly hidden. It's not just a hidden track, that's like marked later on,
Yeah, when you go to rip a CD and the last song is 27 minutes long, you're like, I think there might be something secret here.
It's a secret.
Were you guys trying to put like anything like else within the CDs at any point? Like, were you trying to do like different things with hiding things?
No, I mean, we used to do, I think we were still doing track 6s, like where like track 6 on our records, the first 1, 2, 3, I don't know, we're like always joke tracks or whatever. Like,
Sure.
You had Shut Up on Upbeats and Beatdowns.
Cold opens in a way. Like,
it was Kitty Doggy was new album, and then When I Go Out was Quantity.
Yeah.
So this is the one that breaks it, because you have one of the heaviest songs at track 6 on this one with Fahrenheit, which is addressing hypocrisy and homophobia within the church.
Dude, that freaking song.
Yeah.
And if we don't mind, like let's jump into Fahrenheit, because like where did a lot of that come from? Like, how comfortable are you talking about all of this? And I know both Matt and I talked about sort of like overall like how you feel about it now versus
Reese is not as proud of some of the words that are in that particular song. But I think musically it's one of the first songs on this album that kind of really jumps out now. Like all these years later listening to it, that's where I feel like the album starts to hit its stride, is right in that Fahrenheit into the song 451. Like, those two songs back to back is a lovely 1-2 punch in this record.
Yeah. That's, I mean, lyrically, that's obviously all Reese. He very, very, very red, and that spills out into his lyrics. So,
What was the vibe you were going for musically when you were crafting it though? Like, because I guess the lyrics are the last, like you said, that's the last part. But like, was there ever a point beforehand, even if he didn't have the lyrics, where Reese would say like, "This is a thing that I have on my mind that I want to address"?
Yeah, like what? How do you get the tone out of something like this?
So I think Reese listens to the tone of the song that's made as an instrumental, and he will do. And I think a lot of people do this where they basically write gibberish lyrics, just as placeholders. And some people are better at writing gibberish lyrics than others. Because with Reese, it's like it feels like this kind of syllable should go here, and eventually that turns into words, and that sparks what the song is about. It's a really weird process.
I mean,
then that brings a question that I've always had: is Ugly Day Rhubarb Pie? Is Rhubarb Pie written after the fact as a parody of Ugly Day, or was Rhubarb Pie kind of the gibberish original lyrics and then it changed into something else?
Yeah, Rhubarb Pie was the gibberish. which I love Rhubarb Pie. To me,
I think it's the better version of the song.
That should have been the song. And Reese says that too. Like after the fact that he was going through something that was just his whole body and mind was obsessed with, and he couldn't get away from it, so he had to put it into lyrics. But Rhubarb Pie is eternal.
Andy, I think when we had him on to talk about, I think he came on to talk about upbeats and beatdowns, but I can't remember which one it was. But he had told us, I think in that episode, like that the only times that he can ever remember there being like genuine squabbles in the band were sometimes about should this be the lyric or not. And he said like, he was like, I don't want to give you any spoilers just yet, but there is a song where there was a very big fight on should we say the person's name or not say the person's name.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure he's talking about Ugly Day here with the Christine I Miss You lyric.
Yeah.
What was that whole journey like?
That was just, I mean, Reese was engaged to this girl, and while we were out on tour, she ended up breaking up with him, and he just went into super deep depression. And basically, he'd stay in his bunk all day and come out and play the show, and then go back to his bunk, and then go to the next town, and same thing.
Wow.
So it was not cool. It sucks.
That does explain there are a few songs in here where. Well, how old were you guys at this time?
I was just going to ask.
You're in your mid 20s, right? Mid to early 20s.
98. I'm guessing. I think that's when the record came out.
It came out in
2000.
2000. Okay. So I was probably 23.
Okay.
You're still young, dealing with. I was going to say, like,
Engagement
there are
break-off,
lyrics that are dark in this album, and then there are later albums that are dark. But this is like. Looking back at it, it's like this is a 23-year-old dealing with dark. When you have a song like Ugly Day or even Hurricanes, like it's just so almost nihilistically depressing in a way that only someone in their early 20s can be. But then, looking forward to next year when we dive into something like Electric Boogaloo, there's still a darkness there, but there's so much more of like a maturity over the last 2 years of that darkness, like dealing with that disappointment differently.
So like there's like darkness without energy, and then with Electric Boogaloo is darkness with like restored energy. Like
let's talk about the most unique song on this album, and I had texted you in advance and said that we're going to definitely talk about it. Giants. The only thing I know about Giants is, again, because Andy listens to every episode and then texts me his thoughts. And he said, musically with Giants, we were trying to make a Tom Waits song. And I can 100% hear that in that song. But what was you had said to me, like, that song just never worked out live. And
Yeah,
I
we
can't
tried
imagine
live.
that it would.
Yeah, I mean, like that. This was back when we were like starting to experiment with sound effects in the mix. Where it was like,
Yeah.
if you can't recreate that live, don't bother. You know. But we were like, let's mess with it. We're in the studio. We'll make some stuff and whatever. And yeah, so the sound effects are cool. It definitely adds to the atmosphere. Back then, we weren't playing to click, and so we couldn't add tracks, or
Okay.
had we been playing with click, we could have added tracks that would have been synced up with what we were playing live, which is like slowed down garbage trucks and like crazy. I don't know, just all sorts of, I don't know what else is there, like anvil hits and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also just it's so like atmospheric.
And how much are you building any of that soundscape? Is it just something pre-recorded that you're putting in? Like,
Yeah, it's a sample library, and
Yeah.
like Misaki being creative with it is what he's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was.
Is that one of the few songs you guys have never done live?
No, we've done it live.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
how
you
we
have tried it live. Okay.
That's how we know it didn't work live. It was
I wasn't sure if that was
people
like
just deadpan looking at us like, what is going on? Stage? Like, what is
I wasn't
this
sure if it
song?
just didn't make it out of the practice space, and you were like, "Ooh, I think this
No.
one should just live on the record."
No. I mean, there's something about when you're playing a song, you are listening to your part, but it's a hard thing to step back and be objective about what's happening with the live performance when you're focusing on your part. And so, when you see the crowd's reaction, sometimes deadpan faces is just them being like, wow, this is amazing. But there's other kinds of deadpan faces where it's like,
I can tell.
yeah, this is not working out.
This is not it.
They're not into it.
And I would say more than almost any other song in your catalog, if you're just focusing on your part, your part's not really connecting with what other people's parts are doing. You know what I mean? Like, the bass line isn't following the guitar riff in this.
Yeah.
The drum beat isn't following the bass line of this.
Yeah.
The horns aren't following anything that, like, so you
It's
can't
touch
even,
points,
like,
very disjointed, like,
yeah, you can't like
Danny
clock in
Elfman.
with the other guy and be like,
Yeah.
okay, this is where I need to be. Like, if
Yep.
one person's thrown off, it's
gone.
you're kind of already losing the race. Like,
well, yeah, and you're also trying to sell a vibe too. Like if you're like not believing, if you're just trying to like recreate what you did in the studio, there's a lack of authenticity that I think is very, like, you could just tell from the audience.
a little.
I also
canned.
just can't imagine, similar with Hurricanes, like, these are
Yeah.
two songs where it's like, I just can't even imagine where it would fit in amongst the rest of the set without feeling like an abrupt stop.
Down, yeah, totally, yeah, yeah,
It's just like,
yeah.
it's like, I know you guys are having fun skanking out there, but you need to keep your eyes on us for the next 5 minutes because we're going to teach you a little something about about the evils of commerce
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah,
I do have to
have a good
ask.
time, guys. Yeah.
What was the inspiration for "I Still Like Larry"? Like,
So Larry is an old friend of ours, Larry Landis, and he used to hang out with me, Keith, Reese, all the time. Like, he had a car, and we'd cruise around Aurora and headbang to The Crucified, and it was like pre 5 Iron days, like
yeah.
just like imagine like the Bill and Wayne and Garth, like with the
Wayne's World,
around
yeah, I'm
headbanging
thinking
and
of-
stuff, yeah.
Sure.
That exactly that, like, and without irony, like, that's what we were doing.
Well, I love that this 20-second song is actually biographical. Like, I thought that this was, I genuinely, when we did our review, I'm like, I think that this was them just trying to capture the "when I go out" energy
That's what I was
and kind of
expecting.
missing the mark.
Yeah, well, also a lot of that was also inspired by it was a Fat Records compilation called Short
Music
for
was
Short-
amazing.
Yeah, and we were like half wanting to like just throw our whatever our offering out there, and if it ended up on a record of theirs, like comp, whatever, awesome. Like, so it was partly driven by that.
Katie, I am very curious about this right now.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Short Music for Short People?
I don't think I have.
Okay. This was and I still stand by this, the greatest valued comp in the world. It was 101 songs from 101 bands that were all given a single assignment of write a song 30 seconds or less. And that was like how they advertised all of these bands. Some like Green Day and Blink-182 were on it, but also the most obscure bands from like Europe and Asia are on it.
Yeah.
Like it is just,
so cool.
it is one of the best. I had this very silly idea one time for a podcast called 101 Episodes about an album. And it was like going to be like a track by track breakdown, every episode a different track. But like it is so many of the bands that I know and love, I learned because of that comp. So I can't even imagine what it would have done if Five Iron had gotten their name thrown into that hat among them.
Yeah, it was a great ad campaign for
it's really
unknown
bands. Some of those songs are still like, I think it still has one of the best songs Brackett ever wrote. Is that Warren Part 2 song on there is so good. That's the one that, the bags underneath my eyes, can't tell the tears I've cried. Where were you when everyone moved on? You suck colors from my life.
Oh yeah, I totally
took away my paradise. Don't come crawling back when I move on.
Yep.
Like, it was like these. I mean, the other one I always loved was Sarah Fisher by No Use for a Name. The hello, this is Sarah Fisher. Please wait on the line. There's so many things I'd like to say, but you're busy all the time.
Yeah,
like it was just they're just writing songs about their friends.
Yeah, and they're kind of like mini little hits too. Like I mean, they're actually pretty good songs.
They're really good songs.
The opening track. Why
short
can't
attention
people
span?
Understand? Yeah, that's short attention span. Short attention span.
Boom. It's 10 seconds long. It's
yeah,
perfect.
So good. Yeah.
The title that always made me laugh on that one was the Mad Caddies. The guy who organized the entire comp was Fat Mike from NoFX, and the name of their song was Mike Didn't Like Our First Song, so this is the replacement track.
That's funny, dude.
It's like, oh god, 90s punk. It was definitely a time and place.
They always tell you there's a catch, a compromise, an asterisk. Terms apply. See store for details. May be less than advertised. May vary by mood. Probably. Sprite Zero Sugar? It's different. It's the lemon lime flavored refreshment you want with zero sugar. So, no fast voice? No caveats. Just refreshment. This is Sprite Zero Sugar. Obey your thirst.
Walmart Business is in the business of helping your business. Regardless of whether you're building bridges, building spreadsheets, or building lesson plans. Ooh, that looks fun. Walmart Business can help save you time, money, and hassle so you can focus on what you're building instead of what your supply closet is missing. In short, we take care of business so you can do more with yours. We're the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Hey, it's Sterling K. Brown from the Hulu original series Paradise. The next chapter begins as Xavier's search for his wife takes him above ground, and what he finds will change everything. It was never just about the bunker. Tune in and discover the truth lies outside. Paradise, the official podcast, is now streaming, and stream Paradise Season 2 on February 23rd on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
This episode is brought to you by Stouffer's. Here comes three-time juggling champion Natalia Rogers. She's juggling law school, her TA job. Oh, narrowly catches the laundry. What's that fourth ball? Parents unexpectedly showed up at dinner time? Is that too much for Natalia? Not with Stouffer's Chicken Alfredo and its mouth-watering mix of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. When you're juggling four things at once and the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Imagine a near-future Los Angeles where most people are microchipped, and a new app lets you sync minds with someone else. You could share thoughts, feel emotions, experience life through someone else's head. Would you do it? From indie filmmaking team Femregard Productions comes Sync, a sci-fi psychological thriller about friendship, control, and the terrifying cost of letting someone into your mind. When one woman syncs with her best friend, she realizes too late, some connections can take over. Watch Sync on Amazon Prime Video, Fandango at Home, Hoopla, and more beginning March 6th and streaming free with ads on Tubi starting April 4th. Follow the film on Instagram at Sync the Movie, that's SYNC the Movie, for updates. Because the mind is a terrible thing to share.
I have to ask about
all the hype.
Well, we'll get to all the hype.
Okay.
There's 2 songs on this album that I think are still very much locked in the regular rotation for you guys, and they're more on the silly side. It's obviously Phantom Mullet.
Yes.
And it's You Probably Shouldn't Move Here. Those are the 2. I'm not incorrect, right? Those are like the 2 that are mainstays from this one.
Yeah.
What? So, based on the information that you've told us, you guys wrote music and then Reese wrote lyrics.
Yeah.
Who was the person that brought the music for You Probably Shouldn't Move Here to the table in the first place in this crazy polka chaos that was presented in?
That's got to be Dennis. I mean, like just, the full, bandstand kind of.
It's phenomenal. And I think that's what I like about, as a kid who grew up listening to like ragtime music and stuff like that all the time. This one immediately clicked with me. We're like, where did this idea even come from?
Yeah.
This idea of like, let's just make fun of our home state in the most like I Love LA by Randy Newman kind of way, but also the jolliest of songs. Who's the polka princess? Like, there's so many questions that I have tied to this song.
Yeah, that's still definitely like Dennis. He has a heart for like school band themes, like whatever.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So Big Lou the accordion princess, was that someone that you guys knew from Denver, or was that something that in the studio someone said we should get an accordion player?
That was in the studio, and Saki knew somebody who was like this amazing accordion player, so she came in. That's
incredible. And I have to ask about the Val from the W's part. Did he have to come out to Denver to do his high, or did we get that recorded somewhere else and sent to you guys?
No, he was in the Bay Area at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, like I think he didn't live there, but he lived in Oregon, so he came down. I think to hang out and whatever, because there's a lot of downtime when you record a record too. So
yeah, this is a very guest heavy album. I think it's the only guest heavy album in your entire catalog.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why there was, I guess, what Jeff says is the inconsistency within the album? Like why? Why was this one?
Was that more
one...
the record label?
Yeah.
Was the record label saying we want you to have Justin in there, we want you to have Randy in there, or?
Randy, that was a weird one. That was that was our pastor from Scum of the Earth at church, and he is a big Randy Stonehill fan, and was like, I know the guy, I can get you guys hooked up. You should have him, sing on your record. And we were like, okay, let's do this. So
yeah,
okay,
we did that, and there's a version out there without him on it. But,
I like I mean, I do think he has a very good voice, but I do like the demo version that he's not on it a little bit more.
Yeah. His style of singing is it's just very different, especially on that style of song.
Sure.
And
it's almost like if you had like a Michael W. Smith singing, you know what I mean? Like great singer, but very like traditional CCM style.
Yeah. Well, and at that time we were kind of also working through bugs of One Way Studios, like how like there's certain like Masaki was using these speakers, and this is very nerdy, whatever kind of stuff, but
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he was using these speakers that made everything sound super thick, and like he'd been using these same speakers for all of the records beforehand. And we recorded the Quantity is job one in Denver, which is not at his studio.
Yeah.
And it had a different sound to it, and we were like, it sounds something that's there. And we were like, it was mostly me. I was going into the studio at night trying to figure out what is different here, you know, like why are mixes sounding good in the studio, but you take them out to your car and it sounds thin and mid-rangey and whatever. And then they have Randy Stonehill record his vocals out in Nashville, fly those in, and put them on this recording process that wasn't sounding very good to me.
Yeah.
It was like there's something wrong with what we're doing. So I after coming in, like basically I'd stay late at the studio and try to remix stuff and just try to like figure stuff out. And I was like, it's these speakers, like if and so Saki was like, how do you think the whole process is going? I was like, I think the record sounds good, but we need to sell a pair of these speakers with every CD because it doesn't sound good outside of the studio, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. So he did a deep dive into better studio monitors and got those in for like a week later or whatever. And there's a point where the stuff that is recorded about 3/4 of the way through starts to sound like better.
Oh.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that was recorded on the new speakers was that the little kid singing. I can't remember her name, but she wasn't singing. She was talking on the Giants.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
oh my gosh, that
Ashley Whitkins. It says in the album.
Yeah, most terrifying and haunting.
Yeah,
Was she
her
just
voice sounds
did you
very
just grab
different
her off
from
the
rest of
street?
record.
Who
I don't
was she?
remember how-
Where
I
did
think
she
it was
come from?
Youth. I think from Masaki's youth group or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Amazing. But yes, we talked at length about the fact that it's not a professional voice actor makes it creepier.
Yep.
The fact that it
totally.
is a child reading it phonetically and you know, it actually adds to the eeriness. So,
So
that song is on my Christmas playlist.
Halloween.
My Halloween playlist.
I mean, that's true. That's also true.
Merry Christmas.
This house is haunted.
I mean,
Listen, I like to remind.
It's about
It
mom and
reminds
pop
people of the
shops.
reason of the season. Okay, it's not about the
I
consumerism.
was just gonna say, it's like the consumerism is kind of thematically interesting for Christmas.
I want to talk about album layout for a second because this is the first album of yours where you guys seem to have done like a full-blown photo shoot. Like everything else up until this point is cartoons in your album. A, what was that process like? But B, where did you guys land on this like 70s Harlem Globetrotters basketball vibe that kind of is all over the album?
I can't remember who was the art director for that. It could have been Aaron.
Aaron James. Aaron James is listed for art direction and layout.
Okay, yeah. So it was probably a combination of him and my guess would be Melinda.
Yep, she's listed as photography.
Okay, yeah.
On this.
So it's probably like Aaron's quirkiness and honestly Melinda has a really good sense of humor and kind of gets our shtick as far as just campy, cheesy, whatever.
Sure.
And so yeah, we booked a high school in the Bay Area there, Walnut Creek, and then and yeah.
Did you fill it with fans or was it just random like extras?
Yes, like fans. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Fun.
It's funny to think about as I'm staring at this album and I'm looking at the design that to remind yourself that this album came out 7 years before the Will Ferrell Semi-Pro movie that is literally the same aesthetic as this album.
And
like
even the same pose too, right?
the same poses and everything. I think Will Ferrell's a secret Five Iron fan. That's the only answer that I can come up with.
Yeah.
To tie it in.
Why? I just want to ask really quickly, why it's not unusual? Why in general? Is it just because it's a really good version of this song? But
yeah, I know.
It's a very good, very faithful version of the song.
I think Reese was doing it for karaoke whenever we'd go out and do karaoke.
Oh, okay.
And so he had a lot of practice doing it, and we were like, let's just record it, and like,
I love the
the
horns on
vocals
it.
are already, yeah, the horns are great.
I guess what always struck me as weird when this album came out, I was shocked that it was on the album.
Yeah.
And only because if there was ever going to be a song that appeared on a live album and stayed exclusively on the live album, it would have been a cover. Like, it's not unusual. So, like,
Yeah.
like I remember thinking, like, well, they already did this. They did this last year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we were scrounging for some material. And
It is. I honestly think that sonically, it's a better version than the Tom Jones version.
I would agree.
I'm not saying that Reese is a better singer than Tom Jones or anything, but just that song being played faithfully, but in a 90s and early 2000s studio, it is a more enjoyable listen of that song.
Very much
I agree.
so.
I agree with that.
Like it's a lot of fun. Let's address what I've heard from a couple of people in the band is one of the songs that's not looked at fondly in the career. All the Hype. What was going on with All the Hype? Because I know that this is something that Reese kind of revisits on the Brave Saint Saturn album with Shadow of Death, where he kind of goes back to like awkward white boy rapping.
Sure.
And I think it's a little bit more successfully tongue in cheek in that Brave Saint Saturn version. But like what was I would love to know because you named the album after it. So like was there something in the recording where you were like, this is the song we're building the album around? Or
no, I think we probably had the album title before we had the song.
Okay.
And like I know sometimes Andy will pick up guitar and he has a different way of approaching songs, and he came up with most of that song as far as the music goes.
Sure.
And then there was a guy that was he passed away a few years ago, but he was like this amazing like songwriter. His name is Mike Busby.
Okay.
And like he wrote some songs for like Pink and stuff like that. You know, he used to hang out in the studio as well. And he was like, this song is fire. Like, you guys really needed to like develop this track. And we were like, you know, it's Mike Busby. He knows what he's talking about. He writes these crazy songs, you know, like, and he's, so we had a lot of faith in what he was, you know, he was pushing that, you know, whatever. So we poured what we could into it to try to like give it some life, and it really just was not a good song.
I think credit where credit's due. I think musically it is a really interesting song. I think that the riff that Andy created is a great riff. Yeah. And I actually think the chorus is really, really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's almost that just the verses, like this was like right as nu metal was happening. Yeah. And I was I just don't think we needed more bands rapping.
Right. Sure.
Like this is like hot off the heels of like POD kind of starting to blow up in the mainstream and stuff like that. Where it's like,
and at that time I was also like scratch DJing for.
Yeah, because you're the scratches on this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was doing stuff like that for Echoing Green and for Soul Junk, and POD like briefly asked me if I would go on tour with them to DJ for them like live, and I was like, nah, I'm not a big POD fan, so.
Well, it is so interesting, just like because the lyrics are so whitely delivered. But like I always since I've heard it a couple of weeks ago, I always thought it was like a tongue-in-cheek kind of song. It was like making fun of itself whilst performing itself, like all the hype that money can buy. Like it felt, especially with My Name Is Reese, Don't Call Me Mike. This song is good. Don't ask me why.
Yeah. There was a few things in there. Like, first of all, his first name is Michael. Mm-hmm. Reese is, and he doesn't go by that. He goes by Reese.
Right.
He was also doing a weird reference to NoFX.
Got it.
Don't call me
white.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of like stuff we've
it's a lot
in
of
there. Yeah. Like,
well, you're
like
also
nobody would get, you know, like.
Well, that's the thing that I also think you guys, what makes you guys really, really cool, but I think also was always a hurdle for you guys in the Christian scene is that you have non-Christian influences as well.
Yeah,
but
sure.
like, how many of the kids going to Creation would even get the no FX Don't Call Me White reference? Like,
Who knows? Who knows?
Like, you're really taking a roll of the dice on that one. This is the first time that I clocked that. I'm like, oh my God, he's literally singing it the way that Fat Mike sings Don't Call Me White.
Yeah, it's a bit out there.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That was a particularly funny line for me as a kid because I'm about to make you feel old, and I apologize. When this came out,
I'm looking at my white beard, and I'm looking old.
Yeah. When this album came out, I was a freshman in high school. But at our youth group, we had a lot of youth leaders who were college students, and I kind of bonded with them as the weird dorky kid, and they were weird dorky kids.
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of weird dorky kids in high school, so I would hang out with these like freshmen and sophomores in college. And one of them was a guy named Mike that we had always called Reese because of his last name. So when we bought this album and heard the line, "My name is Reese, don't call me Mike," we were like, whoa!
What are the chances?
That like blew our minds.
Yeah, that's why he wrote it. Yeah.
That's why we wanted Reese on here. I needed to ask him how he knew my friend Mike. So let's talk. I want to talk about one more song, and it's
your favorite.
We're ending on a heavy one, but A New Hope. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about this song. Most of them very, very good. But, this song obviously debuts for a lot of us when the live album comes out. It's one of two songs off of this album that you were playing live prior to it coming out. Mm-hmm. It's obviously extremely personal. In the episode for All the Hype, I play the intro to this song from the live album where Reese explains, like, you guys were practicing at your house not far from the school when all of this happened. I think he even said that your sister was at the school that day.
In the library?
Oh,
wow.
That's crazy.
I'm going to correct a little bit of that. Like, we were actually in Nashville at GMA, the Gospel Music Association, when the news came across the TVs and stuff. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine. We had moved from Aurora, Colorado to Littleton a year or two earlier to get away from the gangs and stuff. My folks were afraid of me getting in the gangs, and I was, so drive-bys were not like an uncommon thing. And so anyways, a friend of mine called me and was like, "Hey, there was a shooting at Columbine High School. Your sister goes there, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "It's not like a normal shooting. This is like something different." And
God, just to have that sentence come across your ears.
Yeah, that's already a tough sentence to start with.
Yeah.
But I want to give you some time, man. But what I always loved about this song and how hard it is to listen to is I feel like after Columbine, there was a lot of post-Columbine songs. A lot. And many of them kind of felt like virtue signaling. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like this inauthentic thing. And I feel like this is one of the first ones where it's like, oh no, this is coming from a very real place.
Yeah.
But also, and all the credit to Reese and the rest of you guys, it's not pointing a finger at anybody, and it's also not offering a solution.
Yeah.
It's offering a hope, but it is not offering a guarantee.
Which is so mature for you guys.
It's so mature for a 23-year-old person to write.
Experiencing like one of the biggest tragedies in our country, and like that was a marker on history, and to have such a hopeful and beautiful song. Yes, it's a harder song for sure, but how did you even...
Yeah, how did you play this every night for like years after this?
I mean, I think from a rhythm section, like it's just a metal song is all it is, you know?
Yeah.
And so you think of it as a metal song and we're rocking it out and whatever. The words are what they are. And if you don't know this song enough to hear what the words are about, it's just you're rocking out, whatever. But you know,
did you get to have any input in the lyrics with this, since you had something so close to the subject, or like did you approve them afterwards?
Reese ran it by me and ran it by my sister to make sure that it was cool that I used, you know, her name in it and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So she's the Amy named in the opening line.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, we were talking about just even that opening line, you know, like in some songs, there is like an opening line that just punches you in the gut, and just Amy's going back to school today.
Yeah.
Before you go past anything else, you're already like goosebumps and gut checked by it. Like it's, I wanted to applaud that for, again, I think an album that a lot of, especially internally, it feels like most of the band does not have a ton of love for this release.
Yeah,
there are these shining moments that I think are incredible,
and it speaks to the overall brilliant. I mean, it is kind of a headbanger of an album where you're kind of going from one genre to the next, but like then you get something as beautiful and as strangely hopeful as this song. I mean,
sure, yeah.
And for it to lead into World Without End feels like a very deliberate choice as well. Actually,
which is like where I'm like I don't fully comprehend why everyone. I do for interstitial, like for individual reasons on each of the songs and for each of everyone's reasons. Yeah. But there is quite a bit of brilliance within this album. That I mean, I don't even know what I'm asking at this point. You know, like it's like at that young of an age and at that much of influence.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I want to remind you about this one because I think when we were doing our review, I think we both think that the bridge to 451 is one of the best things that Reese has ever written, which is the radio is preaching a candy coating goo, the record companies and the TV too. No one rocks the boat. They're terrified of trouble. Can't tamper with the walls of the sterile Christian bubble.
Yeah.
Bro.
No, it was never your point to get people saved. You pad yourself with fluff just because you're afraid. I'm not afraid to point the finger now because your choir's so used to your preaching anyhow. Like, holy crap.
Like honestly, this seems
one
like
of the best things he's ever wrote.
It's a 2026 song. It's what it feels like.
Sure, yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah, there's a handful of could be. Yeah,
that's how long that's been going on for. You know, it's really
yeah. Well, and that's the part that's like that is kind of fascinating to me, especially how Andy and everyone and Leonora, everyone seems to think of this album when you have these like really prolific moments in this album.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
I think you meant profound. Many profound.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that's Reese. So.
Well, sure, but I mean, even within the rhythm section, when it comes to A New Hope, I mean, when you're performing that song, I don't know how often you do that. If you still perform that song. Is that something that like you can just experience rocking out? Like, is that something that is almost like a release for you?
It's funny, yeah. I mean, so we tried bringing that out of the closet. I guess the end of last year.
Okay.
And the unfortunate thing is Reese is still. I mean, it's not unfortunate. It's hard when you're trying to do a rock show and you're trying to have a fun time for everybody who shows up, and then you throw a song like that in the mix. That by itself is like pretty hardcore. But when Reese intros it as like, hey, this song is about Columbine shooting, we thought this would be the last one, and here we are in 2020, 25, and there's been thousands.
So many more.
Yeah. And so it's hard to be like, like let's rock out now, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I do a podcast about Weird Al Yankovic. As one of, Micah, I have like 14 of these podcasts at this point, but I do the Weird Al podcast, and we did an episode about his song Trigger Happy, which has never been played live. I'm not even sure if either of you are familiar with this song at all. It is done in the style of the Beach Boys, and it's about a gun-obsessed guy who keeps accidentally shooting his wife, family, kids, and dog with his gun.
Sure,
but he's like, but it's okay because it's my Second Amendment right, so I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah.
But Al has said, I've never played it live because it is never, as funny as it was to write this juxtaposition, it has never felt appropriate to play in a live setting where people are there to have a good time.
Right.
And not be reminded of how terrible it is out there. Like,
there's a lot of songs that I call headphone songs that are like, this is made to stay in your headphones and influence how you see the world. But beyond that, it's not a fist banger, like.
No. And I guess that is I like this album enough. It's still probably my least favorite 5-iron release. But
Jesus.
I don't know. Well, I don't consider that a real release. That is a B-sides. That's a B-sides compilation.
I'm sorry. That took me out of context because I was like, are you just saying Jesus in general? Or
he said cheeses. They have an album called Cheeses of Nazareth.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I'm catching up now.
There are some very fun songs on cheeses, but but this is the one where I would say of the 8, like what we would consider legitimate, non-live, whatever albums, this is definitely the one that I'm pretty sure has the least amount of songs that even show up in the live set anymore. It's just not filled with enough, like you said, like pumping your fist songs. This is a very introspective album.
Fanimal is a fist bumper. And that was the other one that you probably shouldn't move here. That one's just a fun song to play. If you're coming to a 5-iron show for a fun time, throw that song in the mix.
Sure.
100%.
Especially if you're at Red Rocks or something.
World Without an End. I remember you guys playing on the tour to promote this album, and I think it phased out a little bit. And I think Leonore gave us a little bit of a sneak behind the curtain on why that might be, which was that until the reunion, you guys did not have an in-ear system, and that song is just too freaking fast.
It's so fast. Yeah. I mean, well, and a lot of that's driven by me. And if my adrenaline is going, like I'm the one who starts it. It's like whatever. And like, and if I like, it's funny. There's a live version out there somewhere. I think we played a Purple Door, and there's like a live version where I'm like fully adrenaline pumped, like just, and like I start out fast and then I just keep speeding up, and like before anybody kicks in, and then the horns, the drums kick in, like Andy's trying to keep up and stuff, and Sonny's trying to keep up, and then the horns try to keep up, and it's just like it just sounds like just chaos, and like it's really fun in like just a frantic kind of way, but it's not how you should do a song.
Especially because it was, at the time that I've seen it live anyway, it's basically the penultimate song of the set. It's this and then Every New Day. It's like really gassing everybody before the last song that you're all supposed to be performing at your top level for Every New Day. Scott, he's like that horn line just sounds like a circus. Like it just sounds crazy. Like it sounds like an insane, crazy song. So he doesn't like the choir, but the call to have this album end with a choir that fades out is one of the most beautiful decisions on the entire album. That part sounds so good. And you just threw a blast from the past, man. All these festivals that are coming back, we got to get Purple Door back. That was That was one of the. Katie,
I don't know.
Obviously, you grew up on the West Coast. Purple Door was just a one-day Christian punk and metal chaos fest.
Wow.
Like it was just on a farm, people throwing mud. It was like it was the Woodstock '94 footage, but at a Christian music festival.
Yeah. A lot. So I don't know. This is deep dive kind of left. But the DVD that we put out, the Rise and Fall of Five Iron Frenzy. Did you ever see that?
I have it. It's over on my shelf over there.
Okay. So like the footage where with the baby, the bloody baby footage.
Yeah.
That was recorded at Purple Door.
I believe that. The craziest thing I've ever seen, and it's so funny because this is going to mean nothing to Katie because I'm about to name a bunch of bands that I know she didn't listen to.
Don't worry, it happens.
The last year I went to Purple Door, which was probably like 2003, 2004, Me Without You, The Chariot, and Norma Jean were all on the bill. So when Norma Jean started playing Memphis Will Be Laid to Rest, they brought out their original vocalist who was in The Chariot, and they brought out Aaron from Me Without You. And I can't find it anymore, but there was video on YouTube where they are literally like hanging from the scaffolding, like headbanging and screaming into the crowd. Like it is one of the most chaotic live performances of any song I've ever seen.
That's really
Because you've got just like three of the craziest frontmen in any genre of music, not like just crazy frontmen, period, end of sentence, all just losing their collective minds on stage for a bunch of amped up teenagers with heat strokes coming in because there's no shade, not shade anywhere to be found anywhere at that show unless you went to the art stage to see like Danielson Family and Anathello. Totally. Take a breather at the art table and then like go back to the pits. Micah, thank you so much. This was an absolute blast to have you back on. Yeah. The goal for this year is you got to pick something that's not Five Iron Frenzy related and come on and have us talk about it. So,
did you say Queen?
I said please.
I think she said please, but yeah, do you want to talk about Queen? Is there a Christian Queen album that I don't know?
Wondering that. Is there a Christian Queen knockoff band that you're familiar with?
I'm sure there were plenty.
Striper?
I'm sure there was plenty of weird Christian 70s prog stuff. I'm sure there's a Petra album that you could convince someone was a Queen album. Well, thank you so much, Micah. Is there anything happening with Five Iron in the March-April range that you want to promote real quick before we log off? I think there was some shows announced.
Yeah, we have shows in North Carolina and Virginia in February. I can't tell you where because I don't remember.
That's okay.
But if you go online, there's ads everywhere. If you go to FiveIronFrenzy.com or our Five Iron Facebook page or Blue Sky or any of those guys.
I'm seeing April shows right now, but I know that you have some March ones.
Yeah, there's March as well. I know we're doing March. I want to say it's March is Phoenix and New Mexico.
Okay, man, you guys this is a pretty. I can't remember last time Five Iron had some shows every month. It's looking like a pretty busy 2026 already.
We're pushing our employers to let us go.
It's almost like the energy that a band might do if they've been secretly recording another album to put out in the near future or something.
Interesting. Interesting. And Arizona's not far from me.
I'm not here to start any rumors.
And then I know we're doing Minneapolis and some other place.
It looks like Minneapolis and Wisconsin, the Argo. April 24th and 25th.
The Argo Dome.
Nice.
Yeah, with Something to Do and the Space Monkey Mafia.
Yeah, which apparently
great
were
names.
a good pairing with that band.
Awesome.
Love it.
That's what I've heard.
All right. I'm very, very excited. Thank you so much, Micah. It's always a blast when you're on the show.
Hey, Sal.
Hank, what's going on? We haven't worked a case in years.
I just bought my car at Carvana, and it was so easy. Too easy.
Think something's up?
You tell me. They got thousands of options. Found a great car at a great price. And it got delivered the next day.
It sounds like Carvana just makes it easy to buy your car, Hank.
Yeah, you're right. Case closed.
Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply. Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.